Today in the garden, I'm going to plant this really unusual crop. I've grown this plant for the last several years and have made a lot of mistakes, so I'll give you some tips I learned to grow this. This is called devil's claw. For obvious reasons, they have these great big long hooks on the end of the seed pod. This plant will grow wild in the desert southwest, but these hooks are not as long. This has been domesticated. It's been grown by tribes in the desert southwest for thousands of years. It's used both as a food crop. The young pods are edible, as well as the seeds, which are high in oil. And it's been bred to have these really long claws because they use those in basket weaving. They make some amazing baskets out of devil's claw pods. Now, what I've learned is that this plant is adapted for a very dry environment. So I've had problems with overwatering, watering as I do my other crops, and the plants die. It's definitely adapted for a dry area, so I put it in the farthest corner of the garden and just don't water it unless it looks like it really needs a drink. Now the seeds in here, each pod contains about 20 seeds, and they contain a little kernel inside. To plant it, I've had problem with germination. You soak the seeds in a wet paper towel overnight just to soften the outer seed coat, and then you just carefully pull back the seed coat there to reveal that white kernel inside. That's what I plant, and I'm going to space these out. These don't get huge, but you definitely want to give them enough space to grow. I've learned too that because they don't like being in wet soil, that I actually add sandy loam and mix that in with my regular garden soil where I plant these. Here's some sandy loam I got down at the river, and it's just perfect. So I mixed those seeds right in there. I'll remove the seed coatings on all of these little kernels and put it in the dirt with the sandy loam. Water it in hard and then leave it. I won't water it for several weeks, and sometimes they're slow to germinate, but they will pop up. And as the plant grows, it will put a beautiful flower. Usually it's pink. The pollinators love it. And after it's pollinated, the flowers will grow into these long pods. I harvest these in the fall when the outer fuzzy green coating starts to peel back, and then you can dry them. They'll split open, and you can harvest the seeds right out of here. They grow right in there on both sides, and then you can also use these hooks for basket weaving. I definitely have not grown enough to make a basket, but I have over 60 seeds here this year. So stay tuned in the garden because I'll teach you how to grow these devil claw plants. I got these seeds from a seed bank called Native Seed Search. I'll put the link in the description below. Native Seed Search is committed to preserving Native American varieties of food, and I really like it because most of their food is adapted for dry climate. So I can grow these in my garden with very little water and produce a ton of food. And it's a unique crop that I don't know anybody else around me that grows this. But stay tuned, you can see the flowers, and then I'll show you the harvest later in the fall. So here's the pods of the devil's claw right before this green sheath dries out and splits away. Once that happens, it looks like this. The two claws split open and the seeds start coming out. There's about 20 seeds per pod, but I'm going to let these dry out and then harvest all the seeds and save the claws.